Imagine waking up one day and discovering the entire world thinks you're hideous. Not just unattractive, hideous. They've taken your photo, the worst photo possible, taken at the absolute lowest point of your existence, and plastered it across every corner of the internet. They're laughing, making memes, calling you the ugliest thing on the planet. And there's nothing you can do about it, because you live at the bottom of the ocean and have no idea any of this is happening. And this is what happened to the blobfish. And it's completely unfair, because that photo everyone's seen? That's not what a blobfish looks like. That's what dying looks like. This is the blobfish, the deep sea's most misunderstood creature. And everything you think you know about it is wrong. For most people on Earth, the blobfish is a joke, a meme, the poster child for ugly animals. In 2013, it won the Ugly Animal Preservation Society's vote for World's Ugliest Animal, and the internet lost its mind. That photo, the one you've definitely seen, shows a pink gelatinous blob with a droopy face, saggy jowls, and an expression that looks like it just watched someone explain cryptocurrency for 3 hours straight. It looks depressed, it looks defeated, it looks like it's contemplating the futility of existence. And millions of people saw that photo and thought, yeah, that's what a blobfish looks like. They're wrong. That's not what a blobfish looks like. That's what a blobfish looks like after being ripped from its natural habitat at crushing depth, dragged through 1,000 meters of rapidly decreasing pressure, having every cell in its body expand and rupture like a balloon in a vacuum chamber, and then being dumped on the deck of a fishing trawler to die slowly while someone takes a photo for science. It's the equivalent of showing a photo of a human after explosive decompression in space and saying, this is what humans look like. Technically true, also completely misleading. In its natural environment, the blobfish looks nothing like that sad pink blob. It actually looks like a fish, a weird fish. A fish designed by someone who gave up halfway through, but still recognizably a fish. Down at 1,000 meters, where the pressure is 100 times what we experience at sea level, that gelatinous body isn't a bug, it's a feature. The blobfish doesn't have a swim bladder like most fish. Most fish use a gas-filled organ to control buoyancy. They adjust the amount of gas to rise or sink in the water. But gas compresses under pressure. At 1,000 meters depth, a swim bladder would be crushed into nothing. So the blobfish evolved a different solution. Its entire body is made of gelatinous tissue that's slightly less dense than water. No gas, no air pockets, just protein-rich jelly that can withstand crushing pressure without collapsing. The result? The blobfish hovers. It sits just above the seafloor, suspended in the water, perfectly balanced between sinking and floating. And it doesn't have to do anything to maintain that position. No swimming, no fin adjustments, no energy expenditure. It just exists at neutral buoyancy, drifting slightly with the current, mouth open, waiting. This is the laziest hunting strategy in the ocean. And it works, because down at 1,000 meters, food is scarce and energy is everything. The deep sea is a biological desert. Prey is rare. Encounters are infrequent. You can't afford to waste calories chasing food that might not exist. So the blobfish doesn't chase anything. It practices what scientists call ambush predation, except it's too lazy to even ambush properly. It just sits there, and when something edible drifts past, a small crustacean, a bit of marine snow, a dying copepod, the blobfish opens its mouth a little wider. The prey floats in. Gravity does the work. The mouth closes, swallow, done. It's the deep sea equivalent of ordering delivery and eating it in bed. Except the bed is a rock, and the delivery is random particles of dead things floating through the dark. The blobfish has almost no muscle mass compared to other fish. Most fish are 40 to 60% muscle by body weight. The blobfish is maybe 10%. Its fins are small, barely functional. It can't swim fast, It probably can't swim at all in any meaningful sense. It's a creature that has evolved to do as little as possible while still technically being alive. And in the deep sea, that's not laziness, that's genius. But here's where the blobfish gets genuinely interesting. That gelatinous body isn't just for buoyancy, it's also a survival mechanism for living in an environment that would kill most creatures instantly. At 1,000 meters depth, the pressure is so intense that normal muscle tissue would be crushed, bones would compress, organs would fail. The pressure at that depth is roughly 1,500 pounds per square inch. Imagine the weight of a small car pressing down on every square inch of your body from all directions at once. That's what the blobfish lives in, every moment of every day. But the blobfish doesn't have dense muscle. It doesn't have a rigid skeleton. Its body is mostly water and structural proteins arranged in a loose matrix that can withstand pressure without deforming. It's essentially a biological water balloon that's been engineered to not pop under the weight of 100 atmospheres. And when scientists finally got high-resolution cameras down to blobfish habitat to film them in their natural environment, they discovered something unexpected. Blobfish aren't alone down there. They live in colonies, small groups of them, clustered together on rocky outcrops, all facing the same direction, all sitting motionless, like the world's most depressing choir. No one knows why they cluster. Maybe it increases the odds of food drifting past someone's mouth. Maybe it's some kind of primitive social behavior. Or maybe they just don't have the energy to move away from each other. Either way, they sit there together in the dark, mouths open, waiting for the ocean to deliver lunch. And here's the weirdest part: they reproduce. Somehow. Scientists still don't know exactly how, because no one has ever witnessed blobfish mating. But female blobfish lay eggs, big, gelatinous eggs, and then they sit on them. Not in a nest, just on top of them. For weeks, maybe months. Using their body weight to keep the eggs pressed against the rocks so they don't drift away in the current. They don't eat during this time. They just sit there, slowly starving, protecting their eggs until they hatch. And then the babies drift off into the dark to find their own rocks to sit on. It's parental care at its most minimal. No feeding, no teaching, no interaction, just sitting on your kids until they're ready to leave. And somehow, this strategy has worked for millions of years. Blobfish have been around since at least the Miocene epoch, roughly 20 million years ago. They've survived ice ages, asteroid impacts, mass extinction events, not by being fast or strong or smart, by being too lazy to care. While other species were competing, evolving, developing complex hunting strategies and defensive mechanisms, the blobfish just sat there. And it worked. But here's where the story gets sad. Blobfish are now endangered. Not because of climate change or habitat loss, because of bottom trawling. Commercial fishing operations drag massive nets across the seafloor to catch valuable species like orange ruffy and Patagonian toothfish. And those nets don't discriminate. They scoop up everything in their path, including blobfish. The fish are brought to the surface where they experience catastrophic decompression. Their gelatinous bodies expand rapidly. Tissue ruptures, cells burst. By the time they reach the deck, they're dying. And because blobfish have no commercial value, no one wants to eat a gelatinous blob that looks like it's been through a taffy puller. They're thrown back into the ocean, dead, wasted. Populations are crashing. And because blobfish reproduce so slowly, females only lay eggs once every few years. They can't recover. The Ugly Animal Preservation Society chose the blobfish as their mascot for a reason. Not because it's actually ugly, because it's a victim of human activity that no one cares about, because it doesn't look like something worth saving. People will rally to save pandas and whales and dolphins, beautiful animals, charismatic animals, but a gelatinous blob sitting on a rock at the bottom of the ocean. Who cares? Except, here's the thing, the blobfish isn't ugly. It never was. That famous photo isn't what the fish looks like. It's what trauma looks like. It's what death looks like. And judging the blobfish based on that photo is like judging humans based on crime scene photos. Down in the deep, in its natural habitat, the blobfish is perfectly adapted, elegant even in its simplicity. A creature that solved the problem of survival in the most hostile environment on Earth by doing as little as possible. No wasted energy, no unnecessary movement, just existence at its most efficient. It's not lazy, it's optimized, and maybe that's something we should respect instead of mock. The blobfish has survived for 20 million years by understanding something most species never learn. Sometimes the best strategy is to stop trying so hard. Don't chase what you can't catch. Don't fight battles you can't win. Just find your spot, float there, and let the universe bring you what you need. It's not inspirational, it's not motivational, but it works. And in a world where everything is competing, evolving, fighting for resources and territory and survival, there's something almost zen about an animal that just sits on a rock and waits. The blobfish isn't the world's ugliest animal. It's the deep sea's most misunderstood creature. And maybe the most honest one. Because while every other species is pretending they have it all figured out, the blobfish is sitting at the bottom of the ocean, mouth open, existing without apology. And you know what? Good for them. If this changed how you see the blobfish, or made you realize that maybe we've been unfair to a fish that never asked to be famous, leave a comment. Tell me what other misunderstood creatures you want me to cover, because the ocean is full of animals we've judged based on bad photos and worse science. Subscribe if you want more videos like this, because next time we're talking about the hagfish, the only animal that can tie itself in a knot, produce gallons of slime in seconds, and somehow be even more misunderstood than the blobfish. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the deep.